Easter, everyone. Most of you know me, but those that don't, my name is Amy Lewis. I have been a member of the congregation since the age of 9 months. When I was blessed to be adopted by two most loving, caring, and devoted people that any child could ever hope for, as parents, Dad and Butch Addison. They involved me in this church and introduced me to faith. My parents were amazing role models. I was also blessed to have many other amazing people in my life as mentors, including my Sunday school teacher, Sandy Miller. I was sheltered in a loving, comfortable home. I was afforded every material possession I have ever needed and nearly I ever wanted. I was exposed to all that this world has ever offered. I was blessed. Frankly, I had life too easy. As I got older, I began to get restless and bored. I felt smothered. I was over-sheltered, over-restricted. Granted, I had everything, but I wanted more. I craved excitement, adventure, and danger. By the time I was 17, I had strayed so far that I began to get in trouble. Trouble out of school. Bad grades, I was getting into fights, I was on probation, I was out of control. I settled down and got married by the age of 19. My marriage was bliss. At the age of 21, I was blessed with a beautiful, healthy baby girl out of Nicole Lewis. She is the light of my world. There is no sacrifice that I wouldn't make for her. By the time she was 2, my world came crashing down as my marriage finalized in divorce. My worst fears were realized. I promised Autumn that she would always have a stable, traditional, 2-parent home to grow up in. At this point, I was miserable and unhappy, thinking that I felt as a mother and a wife, that I began to immerse myself in drugs and alcohol. My responsibilities became unimportant. I stopped caring about the things that meant the most important to me that involved my daughter. I was choosing to party over being a mother. I never meant for it to be that way, but I was grieving. My reckless behavior continued until the day that I got the worst experience of my life. I had a profound dream. I was in a dark place and lonely and hopeless place, where I was given the opportunity to realize how destructive my attitude and actions had become, not only for myself, but also for the ones whom I loved. I was being shown all the blessings of my life by virtue of having them suddenly taken away. The thoughts of my daughter and her future compelled me to re-examine my faith and ultimately led me here today. I felt the need to save myself, as I put my soul was in mortal danger. I still struggle to know God, but one thing's for sure, He will never give up or turn His back on me. Only we have the choice to turn our backs on Him. I took His love for granted. I now understand that His love is unconditional. Despite my struggles, my poor choices, God has always been there by my side. He allowed me to fight my way back to Him, to decide and choose Him. His back was never turned from me. It was my back that I had been turned to Him. This is what has led me to stand up here today to reaffirm my faith and devotion to God.
This is Amy Lewis. Did you hear the turning point? Amy, do you renounce Satan and all the spiritual forces of wickedness that rebel against God?
I do.
Do you renounce the evil powers of this world which corrupt and destroy the creatures of God?
I do.
Do you renounce all sinful desires that draw you from the love of God?
I do.
Do you turn to Jesus Christ and accept Him as your Savior?
I do.
Do you put your whole trust in His grace and love?
I do.
Do you promise to follow and obey Him as your Lord?
I do.
Amy Lewis, I baptize you in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Saved and baptized in 1988. My story is a little bit difficult, but I did go through quite a bit of changes to where I had fallen away from Christ. And a lot of questions came to me, about 9 months to a year ago, that I just didn't have the answers for. For the past few months, I have been working with Pastor Tom to resolve some of these answers within myself. And a lot of them have come with answers, but I also knew that recommitting my life. I am going to follow Jesus in everyday life. Make myself more available to my family, to my church, and hopefully help people with many different situations. There has been a lot that's happened that has changed a lot of the ways that I thought. For a while, I was upset, I was angry, because of the things that I had gone through. But come to realize that a lot of that was stuff that I had put myself in. The fact of the matter that he had actually never left my side, but maybe wanted me to do things differently, has brought me to the point now of where I am and what I like and where I've become.
This is Dave Carmen, and we meet every Tuesday night, and I can testify that he is a changed man. Dave, do you renounce Satan and all the spiritual forces of wickedness that rebel against God?
I do.
Do you renounce the evil powers of this world which corrupt and destroy the creatures of God?
I do.
Do you renounce all sinful desires that draw you from the love of God?
I do.
Do you turn to Jesus Christ and accept Him as your Lord and Savior?
I do.
Do you put your whole trust in His grace and love?
I do.
Do you promise to follow and obey Him as your Lord?
I do.
Dave Carmack, I baptize you in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Growing up in my home wasn't the easiest. For the most part, I really didn't have a father figure until my mom got married to my stepdad Dave, because my dad and my mom got divorced when I was young, and he got remarried. For the longest time, I had a hard time accepting Dave, but things got better. We also moved a lot, and that was a struggle. I didn't go to church a lot for the most part, whether it was with my grandma, my stepdad's mom, here or with my friends. I went to church a lot when I was younger, but it really didn't start meaning something until I was probably in middle school. Some of the things that I struggled with was self-image. I would always compare myself to others a lot and wish I had what they had. And another big thing is I would always try to please everyone. I would always think about following Jesus, but it was really just a matter of doing it eventually. Really, what led up to it was I was just tired of feeling like I was faking everything, and I really just wanted things to change. Since I started following Christ, I wouldn't really say things got easier, but it definitely got better. Since the turning point, I have spent a lot more time with God, and I've been living for His purpose and not my own, and wanting to be a better person.
This is Sam Crane. And Sam, do you renounce Satan and all the spiritual forces of wickedness that rebel against God? Do you renounce the evil powers of this world which corrupt and destroy the creatures of God? Do you renounce all sinful desires that draw you from the love of God? Do you turn to Jesus Christ and accept Him as your Savior? Do you put your whole trust in His grace and love? Do you promise to follow and obey Him as your Lord? Sam Crane, I baptize you
what I would have done. I didn't really grow up in a church, but my mom always told me just to have faith in the man upstairs. She would say this to me all the time. Sometimes it would just get on my nerves so much, because for a long time I didn't believe in God. I knew there was a heaven and hell, but just didn't believe in God. When my best friend died, I just couldn't believe it. I even convinced myself that that was not her in the casket. She died in a car accident, and I was terrified of driving, but my parents pushed me, and at 21, I finally got my license. I'll never forget the day that I got a phone call from my sister. It was July 11th, 2010. I had took that week off because we were on a family vacation, and it was very early in the morning. She called me and said that Winnie, Guinevere, my niece, wasn't doing good at all, and that her and Josh was on their way to Raleigh. I hung up the phone, and all I could think was, please, oh please, God, let my sister see her daughter before you have to take her. I was very mad, saying, how could you do this? Why my sister? Why? Please take me instead and let my sister have her daughter. When I saw what my sister had went through, all I could think is, she's my little sister. How could she get through this? There's no way I could ever be able to lose a child. But I saw something between when Winnie passed and up to the service we had. I saw God by my sister, helping her with her loss. He has to be the only one I saw that day because my sister looked so strong. I realized then that maybe I should give the big man a chance. I started going to church, even got married here, which I never thought I would get married in a church. What I regret is not staying to my plan and going every Sunday. It wasn't until the beginning of this year when I was struggling and going through stuff myself. I needed a change, a big one. I thought when I did go to church, I felt so good when I left. So I decided to start going back, even if my husband didn't want to. It was me that needed the change. Now that I look back and think about all the stuff that I have been through, that has happened in my life, I see now that God was there for me.
This is Percilla, and her husband standing behind her. Percilla, do you renounce Satan and all the spiritual forces of wickedness that rebel against God? I do. Do you renounce all the evil powers of this world which corrupt and destroy the creatures of God? I do. Do you renounce all sinful desires that draw you from the love of God? Do you turn to Jesus Christ and accept him as your Lord and Savior? I do. Do you put your whole trust in his grace and love? And do you promise to follow and obey him as your Lord? Priscilla, I baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Growing up, I didn't go to church a lot. I would go with friends and some family, but not every Sunday or even once a month. My mom would tell us about God here and there. I struggled with wanting to fit in as I was growing up. I think my turning point for me was just thinking, why? Why do I care what other people think of me? I started coming to church when Josh and I started dating. When I started listening to everything about Jesus, all I could think of was, wow, he's awesome. My turning point was when Josh and I were in Tom's office, and we told Tom that we were pregnant. Tom asked me if I needed Christ to be the master of my life, and at that moment, I realized, yes, I have always needed him. When everything happened with Winnie, I was so angry with him. I didn't want him at all. The day we buried Winnie, I remember looking up at the cross in the sanctuary and saying to myself, God, how could you do this? And I remember this feeling of relief and joy just coming over me, knowing that she was with him, and I didn't need to be mad anymore. I know that Christ is with me every day, and he can see me, and he can hear me, and he is what matters. I try to help people when before
I would look the other way. I tried to tell people about him and tell my daughter about him every day too.
This is Christina Kaufman, and her husband Josh standing behind her. Christina, do you renounce Satan and all the spiritual forces of wickedness that rebel against God?
I renounce them.
Do you renounce the evil powers of this world which corrupt and destroy the creatures of God?
I renounce them.
Do you renounce all sinful desires that draw you from the love of God?
I renounce them.
Do you turn to Jesus Christ and accept him as your Savior? Do you put your whole trust in his grace and love? Do you promise to follow and obey him as your Lord? Christina Kaufman, I baptize you in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
I was born in Russia, and I lived in an orphanage until mom and dad adopted me when I was 4 years old. My parents was very happy to have me. They were missionaries in Kenya, and they took me to Africa. And I spent the next 8 years. One time when we were on furlough back in Ohio, there was VBS that I attended. And I think that's when I started to understand about accepting Jesus into my heart. When I was in 6th grade, my Sunday school teacher helped me to really understand that Jesus really loves me. And he had a plan for me. I really like the verse from Psalms that says, he knit me in my mother's wounds. It helped me to put the pieces, it really helped me to put the pieces together. Really realized that God had a purpose for me. He helped my mother to make the decision not to get rid of me. She made the right decision to keep me alive. Another verse that was really important to me was Jeremiah 29:11. God has a plan to prosper me, not to harm me. That verse really helped me to look back over the years and see that God does care for me and has been working behind the scenes to provide me a good home where I can learn about Jesus. And I have been really challenged to get to know God more and serve him. I realized that I had a choice to make, to follow him or not. I chose to follow him.
This is Galya and her dad, Daryl, behind her. And Galya, do you renounce Satan and the spiritual forces of wickedness that rebel against God?
Yes, I do.
Do you renounce the evil powers of this world which corrupt and destroy the creatures of God?
I do.
Do you renounce all the sinful desires that draw you away from the love of God?
I do.
Do you turn to Jesus Christ and accept him as Savior?
Yes.
Do you put your whole trust in his grace and love?
Yes.
Do you promise to follow and obey him?
Yes.
Galya Lehman, I baptize you in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Praise God for hope. Amen.